Hey guys, it's Ronnie, and it's been a long time since I've done one of these videos, but I was feeling motivated today, and I have questions backlogging, and I thought, why not just turn on the camera? So, it's the morning. What's today? I'm so thrown off by this weather. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday the 18th, I think, February 18th. I just got back from the gym a little while ago. I've been going through my inbox, so excuse the hot mess I am. And I decided I'm wearing the glasses because I'm tired of squinting. I finally got new glasses after losing mine a few months ago. Anyway, so I have lots of updates. And if anyone reads the blog daily, I apologize for not posting yesterday. I usually post every day, Monday through Saturday, or Monday through Friday, or Sunday through Friday, something like that. But I had the computer last night on my lap. I had my food journal all ready to go, and I just didn't feel like talking, hence blogging, because my husband was playing tennis, so my blog is who I talk to. It was weird. I was just in a weird mood. So, so I thought I would make it up to you and do a video today. And I have questions. And they're backlogging. But I did have a couple updates that I probably should be blogging about, but I'm not. One is that my 2014 run streak has ended. That's kind of sad. It ended on Valentine's Day or the day after. I hurt myself. I'm much better. But it's funny, like I've been taking CrossFit for a year. I've never injured myself. Everyone always says, "Oh, CrossFit, don't be careful," and people get injured. And then I feel really safe in my, I have really good trainers, and I feel like the progress I'm making at CrossFit is making me stronger and actually less accident prone. But I took a stretching class on the cruise ship I was on last week, and we were stretching. We were like holding on to like a ballerina bar and like swinging our legs, stretching our hamstrings. And I just went slightly too far, and I heard a pop and shooting pain down my left leg. And for the next 24 hours, I was limping a little and couldn't really put weight on it. And I tried to kind of trot for my run streak, and it was too painful. And I thought, I'm going to do more damage than let me just rest for a few days. So I took 2 days off. I didn't do anything, and my leg's feeling much better. I still can't stretch as far as I did. There's a little discomfort there, but it's definitely getting better. So I feel like I'm healing, thankfully. But yeah, so that was kind of sad. I'm going to pick back up the running. I'm going to give myself a few more days, I think. I want to make sure it completely heals before I start running again. But I have been going to CrossFit and lifting and still working on those pull-ups. I could do one unassisted pull-up. One day I'll be able to do a couple in a set, hopefully. I'm trying. So there was that. And there was something else I wanted to update you. Oh, so I registered for my third CrossFit competition. It's still going in as scaled. This one is in April. I'm really, really excited about it. It's another team competition, and there's 2 girls and 2 guys on the team, and it's 3 people from my gym I'll be doing it with. So I feel like I'm training for that. I just work out an hour a day. That's what I do anyway, but I feel like I'm trying to push myself a little bit more with the weights and doing a little bit of extra after the workouts to prepare for that. So I'm really excited. I really do like the competitions. They're really fun. They've kind of replaced running events for me. Like, I'm the kind of person that needs something. I don't need something, but I enjoy something to work towards. I like having kind of a goal out on the horizon and something that's kind of, I have to get there, and then I kind of come off the high of that and like find the next goal. It's kind of what keeps me motivated. So, okay, so that's enough about me and my updates. I do have a couple questions that have been sitting in my inbox. Some of these are a couple years old. My apologies. I'm trying to get better. Okay, so this one is from, I haven't looked at her name yet. Vola. I like this. Voula. I like that name. Okay, so she says, hi, Ronnie. I stumbled onto your site from Pinterest and feel so inspired by you. I have a 2-year-old IVF baby. I packed on 50 pounds with all the meds, stress, etc., and have managed to lose all of that, but only to gain 5 back. I want to lose 20 more to get back to my happy weight of 127 to 130 pounds. Any advice on how to start? a note on this. This is like I've actually been planning a blog post about how this is the most popular question I get, the how to start question. So I'm gonna address that in a minute. But she has a few more points in her email. She said she lost the last 20 using a personal trainer and was on a hypoallergenic diet to cure cirrhosis and lose weight. I came off to try for number 2, but doctors told us we have no chance, so I'm on a me mission. I love that. I think we all should be on me missions. I'm on a me mission. Any help or suggestions would be wonderful. Thank you for the inspiration. Okay, so first, any advice how to start? I think you've already started. You're doing great. You know, first of all, you have a new baby. Well, now you have a 4-year-old because this email is about 2 years old. You know, you have a trainer. You're working out. You know, it's funny because I feel like the how to start question always comes from people who there's two. You know, a funny joke that there's 2 kinds of people in the world. But I feel like there's 2 groups of people that do send me the how to start question. It's people who have already started but feel like they need to do something more. Or it's people who are kind of stuck in that I'll start tomorrow mindset and kind of get into that loop that I always talk about where they think they're going to wake up tomorrow and start and be perfect. And then they have a cookie or something. And then they stop starting and then they wait a couple more weeks and then they think tomorrow they'll start again. So I feel like those are the 2 kinds of people. So you're someone who's already is starting. And I think to kind of sit back, I mean, if I were you, I would sit back and kind of pat yourself on the back for what it is that you've already accomplished. I mean, your body went through tons with all of the hormones. And I had a friend who went through the in vitro and it's hell on your body. I can't even imagine. But to cut yourself some slack, notice the progress that you've already made, and realize that there's no moment in which you start. You are in your journey, right? So just make the best decisions that you can moving forward. There's no magical moment where you're just going to wake up and say, today I'm going to eat perfect for the rest of my life and work out and the weight's just going to come off me. And then once I get my roll weight, everything's going to be perfect, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that mentality, I think, is what gets us in trouble. Just wake up every day and do the best that you can. And stop kind of hinging all of your, I don't know, what's the word? Not happiness, but like, momentum on, this concept of perfection and starting to be perfect today, because something is always going to kind of get in the way of that. So, I mean, my suggestions, you're just asking for my suggestions. My suggestions would be to wake up every day, do the best that you can, try to eat as clean as possible. I hate the word clean anymore, but, you know, try to eat the best as possible, you know, whole foods, that kind of thing, minimize extra snacking. You know, if you really want to lose, you know, those last 5 pounds, which I would argue, although, did you say you gained 5 back? That's what you said. If you only have 5 pounds to lose, sometimes over a year and a half, 2 years after I had little Bean, who's now going to be 3 next month, I kind of fought with myself thinking I had to lose those last 5 pounds. And then I kind of took a step back. And I mean, you guys, if you're reading the blog, you know, I kind of stepped away from the scale. I stepped away from counting calories. And I've kind of accepted that the 5 pound range, when you're in that last 5 pound range, I think sometimes we can drive ourselves batty trying to, you know, count down those last few pounds with very specific calories and getting all very strict, and we kind of drive ourselves crazy. I think sometimes a better approach is to step back and maybe reassess why your happy weight is what it is or where it is and how you feel about yourself right now and whether or not you're doing all the things that you want to be doing and wearing the clothes that you want to be wearing and how you feel about your body, and start to kind of realize that you know, the difference between, you know, 130 and 135 pounds, what is that? Do you know what I mean? Like, does that mean you don't wear a bathing suit, or does that, like, what really, just assess those 5 pounds. You know, some people might not agree with me, and, you know, it's all about the numbers for certain people, but I mean, after maintaining now for almost 9 years, I've kind of come to a place where I feel like getting specific with things like a specific weight on the scale, something like that, that's, you know, within your 5-pound range, starts to do more harm than good, especially if you're finding it hard to get there. After a while, you may get so frustrated that you start to go in the other direction because you're so focused on losing 5 pounds. And that's where I felt like I was last year, where, you know, I really wanted to get back to my happy weight of 145. I still haven't seen it since before I got pregnant. But I'm happy. So I had to start to reassess what is that 5 pounds really holding for me? Like, what am I packaging in that 5 pounds that's going to make a big difference in my life? And frankly, now I feel like, especially the last few days, coming back from the cruise and getting back into my routine, I feel great. I just feel like I'm in the zone. I'm working out. I'm eating good. I feel motivated. I have no idea how much I weigh. And at first it was scary, but now it's kind of like free, you know. So how do you start? You just start. You just start. And I know it's so easy to say when you're on the other end, but I have to formulate some more thoughts on the how to start question, because that really is like the most frequently asked question I get on the blog. It's actually starting to be humorous, because when I get an email, I'm like, oh, it's a how do you start question. All right, I'm going to move on. Next question is from Amanda. And Amanda's question is more about food. And I had to ponder this because certain things that I do are a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Like intuitive? And I never thought about this question. So here's Amanda's question. Amanda asks, how do you determine your serving sizes for chilies, soups, and meals without things like a chicken breast or a steak or a pork chop? I'm trying to get into making my recipes and have no clue how to determine how many serving sizes, or even serving sizes on recipes that don't have meat pieces. Okay, this question is funny for me because I never really thought about serving sizes with things that I cooked until I started food blogging. And then I started getting really specific about, you know, sharing a recipe so that other people can recreate what I made. And so before, when I used to cook like 10 years ago, I would just like throw stuff in a pot and then it tasted good and I would eat it. It wasn't rocket science. It was just kind of, and now it's like, okay, I have to measure how much of something I'm putting into the bowl, or I have to, you know how many servings it is, so that I can communicate like calories and that kind of information for those that want it. So what I do for chilies is I don't really think about how many serving sizes I'm preparing to make. I kind of make what I'm making. So let's say I have a recipe. I could share the link on the blog, but I have this recipe for like a really easy vegetarian chili. I use canned beans. It pulls together in like 20 minutes. It's really tasty. It's one of my favorite things to make. Actually, I haven't made it in a while. I might make it for lunch. But so you put a few cans of beans in a pot and you add some vegetables and some spices, and you have a bean-based chili. And so when I make something like that, I kind of make it, and then I'll run over to the computer really fast and I'll calculate the nutritional information by kind of putting everything into like MyFitnessPal or nutritiondata.com or one of the other websites. And I'll put in all the data, and then I'll kind of just see how many calories it is as a whole. So like, let's say it's 1,200 calories. And then I start to think, okay, well, that's 4 servings of 300 calories, which is a nice size, you know, a nice amount of calories for a meal, like a lunch. And then I'll go back to the pot of stuff, and I'll take my 1 cup scooper thing, and I'll scoop out 1 cup, and I'll put it in a bowl and kind of see what it looks like, and I'll say, yeah, that's not enough for a serving. Usually 1 cup servings I find are way too small. So then I'll do like another cup, and I'm like, okay, that's about the size I want. And then I'll measure out how many other 2 cup servings I can get out of what it's there, and then go back and kind of adjust on the, you know, MyFitnessPal. Say, okay, well, I couldn't quite get 2, 4, 6, 8 cups out of it. I only got 6 cups out of it. So then I'll go 1.5 cups is a nice size serving. And so I kind of like, I mean, it's playing with the numbers, but I don't think it's an exact science when you're doing kind of a stew or a chili-based meal. I think sometimes I'll figure out per cup the calories just because I think it's easier, and then Depending on how hungry I am, maybe I only want a cup because maybe I'm going to pair it with a half a sandwich or something. Or maybe I want it to be my whole meal. So sometimes I'll just do the nutritional information for a cup and then just measure how many cups I have and then just say, okay, well, today I ate 2 cups, but tomorrow I might only have a cup. And then I could just double it up when I have 2 cups more. So that's one of the approaches. But it's funny that you ask because I don't think there's a right way to do it. It's just whatever's working for you. So my suggestion would be to just measure how many cups you end up with at the end of the recipe. Do nutritional information for however many cups. So if you end up with 8 cups of chili or 6 cups of chili, calculate the nutritional information per cup. And then when you go to enter it in your food journal or however you're tracking, if you have 1 cup, then, that's great. It's a serving size. Or if you have 2 cups, then just double it when you're counting it. I think this is another one of those things where if we overthink it, it just gets frustrating and annoying, and then you just don't care and you walk away. So don't make it too hard on yourself. Just count a cup as a serving, but if you decide to eat more, then that's fine. I mean, think about all the things that you buy where a serving is listed. I could joke about the Ben & Jerry's pint. Like, I used to joke that a pint was actually the serving, but they claim there's 4 servings in there, and I think it's a joke. But just think of how many things that you buy that the serving size is really not what it is that you're going to eat. It might be more, it might be less. Sometimes I think they just choose a serving size based on how easy it is to measure or how easy it is to package or how easy it is in our case, how easy it is to calculate. So just calculate for the cup. And then just count a cup as a serving and then decide whether or not you want to eat 1 serving, 2 servings, or 3 servings based on your hunger level. And that's kind of an easy way to do it. Does that make sense? I need chapstick. I'm going to keep flipping. Don't mind my no makeup sweaty face. Anyway, so that's what I would do. I would do the 1 cup serving size method. And don't worry about, I know a lot of people, I don't know, I wouldn't worry about what a serving is supposed to be. What do you think is going to fill you up? Like, think more intuitively, or just start with a cup, see how you feel. I do that. Actually, I do that a lot of times with Green Light Bites. I'll eat a cup and I'll wait. And be like, oh, that actually, if you guys read Green Light Bites, you'll see I say this a lot. I'm like, it was way more satisfying than I anticipated because I kind of gave myself time to digest that cup. And I was like, oh, that really worked. Whereas, I don't know, if you think a serving size should be 3 cups worth, you're like downing 3 cups and you kind of pass that point of fullness, and then your serving size should have been a little bit less. All right, I'm just babbling now. All right, I'm going to move on to question number 3. So question number 3 is from Price. And Price says, Roni, I have been following your blog for years and I love it. So nice, thank you. I relate to you on many levels. Mom, worker, working, exerciser, cook, Weight Watcher. I lost weight prior to having my son, who is now 6, with prior Weight Watchers, but now I have no success with the new Point program and have been frustrated. I think this is a common sentiment, at least in my experience. I have tried lots of diets, shakes, Jenny Craig, low carb, along with exercise, personal training, and with much discipline, I haven't had any success. I would love to know your mindset, your tricks, guidelines you use, your framework for how you lost weight. For example, do you watch carbs, snacks, how much exercise, what really works for you? Okay, this is a pretty open-ended question. And I think my approach to when I was losing is now different than my approach when I was maintaining. At least, I mean, I've changed. Everyone changes over 9 years. It just is. So my mindset when I was losing, I was all about points. So I did follow the old Flex program. And I was diligent with my food journal. I never not food journaled while I lost the 70 pounds. I have every food journal written on paper. It's pretty sad. And I would, back then, I wasn't eating as healthy as I am now. I mean, healthy is a word. It's one of those words where you could define it differently. But I was eating more convenience and processed foods back then. And I think I needed to go through that stage to get to where I am today, which is eating almost no, like, pre-made meals and those kinds of things. So, I mean, I still eat processed foods. I'm not going to lie. I have a handful of Doritos here and there. I still eat Triscuits. Like, but comparative to what I used to be eating, where I used to bring, like, a lean cuisine to work for lunch, or I had a can of soup, with dinner, or, you know, I had a lot more kind of pre-made foods. So my philosophy back then was, I mean, I was just all about the points. I would say also, I mean, calories. That's really what it came down to for me. And overall, I would, I'm trying to think of, I mean, I do watch breads. I watch what I would call the whites. You know, I mean, I haven't had a slice of white bread even before I started dieting, like 20 years. I just don't eat white bread anymore. And I tried to cut back on bread. I used to be a big sandwich person. Like, I would just eat sandwiches all the time. So I try to kind of cut. I don't alleviate. I'm not one to just say I'm never going to eat bread again, because it's just not realistic. Sometimes I'm going to want bread. Sometimes I'm going to want a sandwich. You know, I have a great sandwich shop down the road. I want to be able to go there for lunch, you know, and have like a nice sandwich with melty cheese. You know, I don't want to give up the thing. It's not worth it to me. But I do watch my bread intake. I do eat a lot less bread than I ever did. I started replacing some white potatoes with sweet potatoes. I went through a phase with sugar where I went through the artificial sweetener stage, where I thought I would use like whatever, Splenda or whatever one was popular at the time because of the calories. And I've kind of come full circle on that. Now I'm a maple syrup honey girl. I'd rather use a tablespoon of honey than something else to sweeten. But I also don't drink coffee. I know I'm weird, but I don't like it. So I don't have something that I'm constantly like trying to sweeten, except for like yogurt or oatmeal or something like that. So I don't use artificial sweeteners. I don't use a lot of sugar. I don't, what's the other white flour? I haven't bought a pound of white flour in, you know, like you can buy a package of white flour, you know. I stopped buying it. I only use whole wheat. So my philosophy is kind of limiting carby stuff, kind of keeping an eye on it, but not alleviating it out of my diet. Do you know what I mean? Now, and that I had that same philosophy back then, but I was really diligent on points. And I remember eating, like I used to eat a lot of like yogurt cups as snacks, and this is kind of funny because I just found out I'll be working with Aldi's. I can't wait to announce it on the blog. But Aldi's used to have these. Do you remember the old-fashioned snacks that you got with the kids? And it had a little cheese cup and then those little like cracker sticks, and you would dip the cracker sticks in the cheese. I really like those. I don't know why. I mean, I don't eat them anymore. But when I was losing weight, I used to buy them in packages at Aldi, and I would, that was one of my like snacks I would bring to work with me as a snack. So, I mean, there's something, I mean, it's like orange cheese product and white flour breadsticks, you know. But I was still able to lose the weight because I was managing my calories and counting points. Now my philosophy is a little bit different. You know, now I'm kind of finding my maintenance mojo without numbers, I'll call it. And so my philosophy is I always eat breakfast, usually eggs, or I'll make my own home, you know, I'll have one or two of my own homemade pancakes, but I kind of keep those to a minimum, and the kids eat those more than I do. Or I'll have some oatmeal. But I actually feel better the days I eat eggs. And so I'm really trying to learn from my body. When I have 2 to 3 eggs as breakfast, eat an omelet with like spinach and peppers and onions or whatever, I feel great for the rest of the day. When I eat like oatmeal or pancake, I'm usually hungry sooner, or I feel like I want to eat sooner. So I'm kind of learning my body. So I usually always eat breakfast. For lunch, I usually try to do, I don't know, like either make myself a salad, or I have a sandwich with the husband. He wants to eat out a lot. I try to avoid eating out as much as I can, but it's kind of hard. But a lot of times my overall approach is if I have like a salad, or if I have like a sandwich for lunch, then I go lighter on dinner and I'll skip the potatoes. So a lot of my framework is just kind of balancing things out, and I try to do it intuitively, and and this is why I pulled away from my MyFitnessPal. I'm trying not to focus on the numbers as much. Not because I think, I mean, they helped me. I mean, if I didn't do points, I don't think I would have ever lost the weight 9 years ago. But now I'm in a different place where I don't want to focus on the numbers. I want to try to really eat intuitively and maintain my weight. And I've kind of already been doing it, but I've been keeping one foot in the calorie department. And I'm kind of going, no, I'm good. I work out a lot. I run. I'm active. And I know how to balance my diet without having to look at calories at the end of the day every day. I just don't want to do it anymore. So, I mean, I'm all about balance. I try to keep kind of carby stuff to a minimum. And I try to load up. I'm more of a what I can have versus what I can't have. I try to have a substantial vegetable component to every meal. So when I eat eggs, I put vegetables in them. At lunch, if I'm not having a salad, I'm loading a sandwich with vegetables. At dinner, sometimes I serve the family 2 vegetables instead of a starch. So like say we're having pork chops, I'll do pork chops, roasted Brussels sprouts, and sweet potatoes, or if I don't want to do sweet potatoes, we'll do, I don't know, peas. You know what I mean? And then I make a baked potato for everybody or something like that. But I rarely, I won't say don't because there are times, but I rarely eat a meal without some kind of vegetable component. And I think it bulks up the meal and it helps you feel fuller. And that is a philosophy I learned when I was losing, when I was counting points, when I realized, you know, I can have, like, let's say 2 scrambled eggs. Have you ever scrambled 2 scrambled eggs? When you look at it on a plate, it's kind of sad. It doesn't look like very much. It's not very satisfying. But if I make a 2-egg omelet, and in that omelet I put onions and peppers and spinach and a little bit of cubed ham, even some bacon bits if I, you know, for the flavor. And I make this huge omelet stuffed with vegetables. And then I see that if you look at that on a plate compared to just 2 old scrambled eggs, I'm always going to go for the omelet. And so I learned, and counting points, and all that stuff was free. I mean, the bacon bits weren't free, but I can add a point for bacon bits. But the spinach, the peppers, the onions, the leftover broccoli, all free, all free, all free. And so I learned that I can kind of bulk up my meals, feel more satisfying. The meal looks more satisfying. It is more satisfying. And I'm not adding any calories, and so I can eat more. And the old adage, eat more and lose, you know, way less. I mean, it really comes down to adding vegetables. So that's my philosophy. I try, when I snack now, I try not to hit the pantry first. I try to make myself something. I think the act of making things is more satisfying than just grabbing a bag of chips out of the pantry. So whether maybe I take a cucumber and I slice it up and I smear a little Laughing Cow cheese on it, or I even make, like, I make butternut squash pizzas now. I used to do it on English muffins, but now I'll take like a big butternut squash, slice it in rounds, and like put a little sauce and a little cheese on it. Or I'll go to fruit. The one time there's a quote in my head. I don't remember the exact quote, but a concept in my head that when you want a snack and fruit doesn't sound appealing to you, you're not really hungry. And it's so true, and I use that a lot. Like if I'm like, oh, I really want something, and I'll look over at the fruit bowl. I always have a fruit bowl, which is another one of my strategies. I'll look over my fruit bowl, and I'm like, I don't really want an apple. And then like I go, ding, 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 I'm not really hungry. I'm not really hungry. If I was hungry, I would want that apple. And so I kind of try to go towards fruit. I don't go crazy on the fruit, but I still think grabbing an apple or having a handful of grapes is a better choice than opening the pantry and grabbing cookies or a bag of chips. So overall, that's my philosophy. I know it's not scientific. I know I can't really give you that much advice anyway. I'm not a trainer or a nutritionist. I mean, overall, it's a very, I try to balance my meals. I try to incorporate as much fruits and vegetables as I can. I try to watch my carbs a little bit. I'm by far not anti-carb, or I should say low carb. I'm sure I'm not. And I mean, I just kind of try to eat intuitively. And I do have a lot of convenience items I still use. Like I just joined Costco's. Oh my gosh. Why didn't anybody tell me Costco's was so cool? But there's 3 snacks now I buy at Costco's that me and the kids love. Well, one of them is a bag of pistachios. I'm really getting into pistachios right now. I'm trying to get my kids to go towards like nuts and snacks that are convenient, but not processed with a million ingredients and God knows what they did to the food. You know what I'm saying? So, but the snacks are pistachios, a huge bag of pistachios. My son was eating them yesterday when he was doing his homework. It was so cute. These Snap Pea Crisps. I love Snap Pea Crisps. Again, they're a processed snack. I'm not lying to myself. But when I look at the ingredients, it's like pea flour, oil, salt, or something. I mean, it's like 4 or 5 things. And I'm like, I know what they all are. I feel good about it. So I'm not anti-convenient items. I'm learning that I have a handful of certain go-to things that I think have not a lot of ingredients, things that I don't feel bad eating or giving to my kids. Did I get all that out? I know, again, I'm like just like blubbering. That's my technique. It's not I just should say it's not rocket science. I'm not very scientific, and I don't want to be. Like, I feel like the one thing that I've learned over the last 9 years is that, for me anyway, everybody's different. But when I get really specific and I start to get really detailed, it backfires. It's not fun for me anymore. Like, I just don't want to worry about, I don't know how to describe it. I'm much more of a overarching philosophy. And if you apply that overarching philosophy day in and day out, you'll see progress. And much more progress than would if you would say, I'm going to be super strict and detailed and not be able to maintain that very long. Yeah, you'll make progress, but then how long can you handle watching every little thing you put in your mouth, weighing everything? How long can you do that for before you just go, this is too much work, and then just go in the opposite direction? So I'd rather have kind of some steadfast rules, and I've shared them on the blogs, like how I eat out. I have go-tos at restaurants. I have kind of an overarching philosophy when I'll pick Panera, for example. When I go to Panera, I have this strategy that I get a salad. I get like the you pick two. If I get a salad and a soup, then I can get the bread. But if I go with a sandwich and the soup, then I skip the bread and get an apple. Little things like that. I mean, it makes a huge difference over time if you're consistent with kind of your approach. And then that way I'm not getting double bread at Panera. I mean, I have rules like that for every restaurant I go to. If I'm going out to like fine dining with the husband, I get a soup, I get a salad, and I get a meal, but it's always something broiled. It's not something deep fried. It's always, I just have I make bargains with myself. But I've been making those bargains with myself, again, for 9 years, and I'm consistent with them. Instead of being super strict, never eating out, only eating, I don't know, broiled fish, chicken with no flavor, and then, oh, that sucks, and after 3 weeks you're done and you're just eating double stuffed crust pizzas. Do you know what I mean? So I go easy on yourself. Make small changes. It's the whole what you can when you can, just consistently. And I feel like not only am I able to maintain my weight, I mean, I'm not maintaining the 135 pounds I was when I was like well below my goal, but I'd rather live a life where I'm enjoying ice cream with my kids and fun and feeling healthy and just kind of a nice balance of not being super skinny, being active, healthy, strong, and feeling like I can manage life instead of feeling like I can't eat out with my friends or I can't enjoy a beer or a glass of wine or I'll go over points or, and it took me a long time to get to this kind of happy place of I'm okay being 5 pounds heavier if that means I can, go out for ice cream with my son when he does well on his report card or, have a slice of birthday cake at a friend's party and then just skip my mashed potatoes with dinner. I feel good in that space, Okay, I'm going to move on. I hope that helps you price. I know it's not a specific philosophy, but it's kind of my overarching approach. That's what I would call it, my overarching approach. Okay, another question, because I'm running out of time. I don't know how many people stick with me this long. I can barely stick with myself. Okay, this one is from Meg, and it says, Hi, Roni. I love your blog and find your story really inspiring and relatable. I have a bit of a delicate question about a close friend of mine who's kicking butt on her fitness journey. We have been friends for many years, and she has been doing boot camp with a trainer that she loves. However, lately it is becoming hard to have a conversation with her where she's not talking about how X supplements help her so much, how carbs are evil, how she can't cheat, how she can cheat after her Wednesday weigh-in, blah, 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 blah. Okay. I have my own history with eating issues and prefer an intuitive eating style. Like, and trying to also focus on fitness victories versus putting all of my value on a number. I love that she's successful and know she will continue to do well, but I am also a bit aggravated with her constant evangelism of low-carb, X supplements, boot camp, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, is there a way to gently communicate that her way doesn't mean it's the way for everyone without seeming like I'm trying to discredit her success? Oh, what a question. This is so funny because it is working for her, and that's great. And there's that like delicate, I'm like, you want to say that's great, but it's not for me. I'm sorry. You know, and that's kind of how I get. I'm like, I have an old friend of mine who's a trainer. And I remember one day he was driving me home from the gym, and he pulls out a book. I can't remember who the author was. It was like one of those celebrity chef people. And they just came out with a new book. And it was the 4-Day Diet. He's like, oh, you got to read this. This is great. Blah, blah, blah. It's got great advice. And I'm like, I'm sure it does, but it's not for me. And he's like, well, how do you know? You didn't even read it, blah, blah. And I was like, anything that's marketed the 4-day, like a certain day diet or how I'm going to, I was honest with him. I'm like, with my history, with eating or disorders and dieting, and I go, I'd rather just be more intuitive. And he was totally, he was fine with it. He was kind of like, okay, whatever. It was a great diet if you want to follow it. And I'm like, okay, I'll keep it in mind. I'm kind of left it as that. It wasn't that big of a deal. But I think it's very similar to the experience you're going to now. I feel like I'm guilty of this too. When you find something that works for you or that really resonates with you, you want to profess it. You want to be like, oh my God, I never realized that, I could be like this with CrossFit. Like, I love CrossFit. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I love going every day. I look forward to it. I enjoy it. But I know it's not for everyone. And so I try actually to pull back and not, because I'd rather inspire people to find their CrossFit, like whatever it is that they like to do, whether it's like my husband, for example. He plays tennis. He loves tennis. He plays tennis almost 5 days a week. I can't play tennis. I suck at it. If like I adopted tennis as my, fitness activity, I wouldn't upkeep it very long. So, everyone has to kind of find what works for them. But that being said, when you find what works for you, you kind of like want to go to everybody. No, this really works. It really works. It really works. See, I lost all this weight and I did this and I did that. And you're all excited. So just kind of gently reminder, I would just go, you know what, I'm so glad it's working for you and you look great and it's great. I go, this is just not for me. I'd much rather do this. And this is working for me. Can't you see I'm making progress too? It might be different than you. And I just honesty, just kind of let her know, if you've been friends for, I know she shouldn't be insulted just because you don't want to take X supplements. And the supplement people, it's funny. I can't be a supplement person. I tried. We were talking about supplements at the gym. They're like, oh, you should take this and that. And I'm like, I don't really want to pop pills. I'm sorry. It's just not for me. And I've been hesitant even with the recovery shake concept. Like, I always thought, I think coming from a weight loss history, I look at things still kind of with a lens of, wanting to cut calories and eat lighter and whatever, and being now in an environment where it's all about fitness and building muscle and strength, I have to like change the way I look at things. And so again, everyone's kind of in a different space and they all have different goals. And I think just really saying, I'm glad it's working for you, but I'm more like this, maybe we can talk about other stuff when we're together. I know it's kind of hard to, it's kind of hard when someone, there's also my method of just yes them to death, just yes them to death. Just, oh, that's great. Yeah. No, I'll look into it. And then just knowing yourself, it's not for you. And, I think when you're really confident about what's working for you, you don't get insulted when people try to like sway you in another direction. It's kind of like parenting, I think for a long time I was really kind of self-conscious about the way I parent, and now I'm really confident about it. So when people say something like, oh, you shouldn't let him do that, or you shouldn't, I'm like, okay, that's great. but okay. I'm just kind of yes into death because I feel very confident in my decisions. And when you feel confident in your decisions, someone else's opinion doesn't have the same insulting quality. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're confident, someone's opinion doesn't insult you anymore because you're confident in your decision or your approach or your philosophy. That doesn't mean you're not kind of open to hearing what they have to say. It's just that I think sometimes when you're unconfident about your philosophy or approach or strategy, that's when it's easier to kind of get insulted that someone's trying to give you advice. But when someone's trying to give you advice and you're confident, you don't get insulted. So if you're not insulted and you just let her kind of profess what's working for her and just kind of give her the yes, I'm glad that's working for you, and then let her get it out of her system, and then you guys can talk about something else. That kind of works. So don't get insulted by it. I mean, of course, it's going to be annoying, but if she's your friend, kind of one of those, everyone has something that their friends do that's annoying. And for you, it's your friend talking about supplements. My friends, I have certain friends that certain things are annoying about them. And it's just kind of part of the friend territory. Anyway, that's my advice. I'm not good at friend advice. It's funny, though. Different things work for different people in different ways. I could never be a supplement-y person. It doesn't work for me. I had a lot of time, because I do the blog, some people reach out to me like the, what are those shakes? There's like shakes that are going around now. Some kind of shake system that's going around, and people keep asking me to try them, and I'm like, it's not for me. I'm sorry. Like, I just don't want to try it. You know, like the PX90 people are really into it. I'm like, I'm good with what I'm doing. It's, you know, so everybody, you know, people have to find their own little tribes of what works for them. All right. Last question. Then I shall take a shower. I have a call. Ooh, in 10 minutes I have a call with a dear friend. Anyway, last question is from Alicia. And Alicia says, Dear Roni, I was wondering if you had ever felt like you might not actually lose all the weight you wanted to while you were on your weight loss journey. How did you keep yourself from giving up? Sorry, my calendar just interrupted me. Okay. How do you keep yourself from giving up? I'm in college and have a lot to do, although I know you do as well, and sometimes I feel a bit overwhelmed at the prospect of trying to get healthy. Also, I know that you've talked about what you would have done differently if you were in college now, but any tips are appreciated. Thanks so much. Okay, if I was in college now. It just makes me smile to think about it because I've been feeling old lately. Yeah, so college was right in this middle of my yo-yo dieting crazy days. It's funny. It's funny to look back because now, of course, everything seems so easy. But when I was back in college, everything seemed so daunting and hard, and even eating healthy or going to the gym, it just seemed like such a chore and things that I didn't want to do. So the only difference besides age, maturity, that I seen myself was that I looked at things completely different back then than I do now, or even did when I lost the weight. So back then, it was all about being perfect or not doing anything at all. So it was all about hitting a certain body size, weight, and doing everything perfectly to get there. But if I couldn't do everything perfectly, then I wouldn't do anything at all. And that was really the only, I was ever in one of those two states of trying to do everything perfectly. And then as soon as I wasn't perfect, I wouldn't do anything at all. Now, of course, and I just talked about my overarching kind of philosophy and approach, and it's much more like lenient, and I eat ice cream, and I eat this, and I eat that, and but then I just watch this, and it's balanced, and I do what I can when I can. I can't say that enough, but it's the truth. So now my philosophy is, A, I don't have all of my happiness hinging on a specific body size like I used to. And then B, I've come to learn in my 37 years that I'll never be perfect. And there's an acceptance there. Wow, this is going to make me emotional. I don't know why. But there's like, my body will never be perfect. My diet will never be perfect. I'll never perfectly be able to do a pull-up. I'll never be perfect. I'm never going to be the perfect parent. I'm never going to be perfect. And maybe this comes with age. I don't know. But I think the earlier you can realize that, the better off you are. So I think forgetting perfect. And so, yes, the prospect of trying to get healthy when you think you have to be perfect to get healthy is daunting. But when you look at trying to get healthier as just doing small things every day that will build up, it doesn't seem so daunting. So I don't know, if I look back at my college experience, there's no way I was going to like give up going out drinking with my friends on the weekends or, sometimes ordering pizza at 2 o'clock in the morning. Those are part of my college experience. I don't know if I would want to give those up, like things like that up. But I definitely would have tried to balance those things out by walking more to my classes instead of driving, which I was famous for getting parking tickets all the time because I would drive when I could have just walked. It was just, I'm on a college campus. So I wouldn't have been as lazy. I would have been trying to look at opportunities throughout the day just to be able to get more active. I would have hit the salad bar more than the pasta bar at the Commons. I definitely would have done that. I think I would have also taken an advantage of more of the group classes and opportunities that were at the rec center. I think when I was in college, they just built the rec center. It was brand new. And I remember going and trying to be one of those people that would like use the Nautilus machines and kind of work out. And it was kind of it was kind of a half-hearted attempt. But I think if I would have made an effort to kind of get into with a group of people and like take a step class or a yoga class or back then I was too shy to do that. I was too ashamed, I guess, of my body, or just too, I don't know, just not lazy, just too, I don't know. I guess ashamed is probably the best word. I just didn't think I would belong. I just felt out of place. I think I would have pushed myself out of my comfort zone and did those things back then. Wow, I'm going to get emotional about that too. God. Anyway, I mean, those are the things I would have done. So I don't think you're busy. You're newsflash. You're going to constantly, when you're out of college, you're going to be busier because life's busy. So you're always going to be busy. So you can't use busy as an excuse. But you can just look for ways throughout the day to incorporate stuff. Push yourself out of your comfort zone. Try new foods. Just be conscious and aware of everything that you're doing throughout the day. I mean, I can give you very specific, stuff, but your question kind of asks for a more broad approach. That's how, if I would do it again, I would definitely try to be more active throughout the day. I mean, you're sitting in classes all day. That's what you do. So anytime you can walk or find someone, there's so many active people on a college campus. Try to latch onto a group of people that are doing active things. Join an intramural sport. Hit the salad bar more than the pasta bar. Watch the ordering late when you're drunk food. Things like that is probably things I would have done differently. But it's a great question. I didn't answer your first part question, which was, did I ever feel like I might not actually lose the weight you wanted while you're on the weight loss journey? Yes and no. And here's why that's a question is hard for me to say. When I started this journey, the journey that I'm still on right now, that I started June of 2005 when I started blogging, that journey, this 9 years, it was the first time I embarked on the journey where I didn't hinge all of what I was defining success as a specific weight loss number or a specific body size. It was the first time, and it's kind of hard to put into words, where my entire approach to the diet or the changes in my lifestyle or however you want to define it wasn't, I am going to lose 50 pounds by X date. It was, I am going to learn how to eat better, make changes, and get more active. And it's semantics. We can argue both sides of this. But for me, and it was definitely a switch in my mentality, and I talked about this on the blog, I framed it completely different. It was the first time ever in my adult life I didn't frame the diet as, I'm going to lose weight. It was, I'm going to change my habits. I'm going to get healthier. I'm going to get more active. That was a big difference for me. So when you ask me if I ever felt like I would never lose all the weight, it was my goal to lose weight, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't what I was hinging my success on as much as I did in the past. So I guess, honestly, if I answer that question honestly, no, I didn't think I wouldn't ever lose the weight. There's a double negative in there, so that works, right? I knew I would. I just knew the changes I would make would lead to the weight loss, and I was more preoccupied with the changes than the weight loss. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Kind of hard to put into words, but yeah. So that's got me thinking. That's a good question. And I think those of you who kind of get it, you know what I mean. I know that's a really bad way to try to appeal to a mass amount of people, but if you feel like you're never going to lose the weight, you're focusing on the wrong things. I think that's what I want to say. I think that's, yes. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it there. Okay, I hope you lasted this long with me. I got to go. I have a call in 1 minute. All right, perfect timing. All right, thanks, guys. I'm not going to make any promises about podcasts, but I will do my best to get another one up in the next few weeks. I do miss them, so, and I know people have been asking me to do one, so here you go. All right, bye, guys. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you soon. Bye.